So in Screencast 3, which is a fairly short screencast, I want to introduce you to the 4 building blocks of competitive advantage. And the 4 building blocks of competitive advantage is a concept which has been developed by Hill and Jones. And Hill and Jones is another one of the 4 or 5 strategic management textbooks which we recommend as giving a good introduction. And this is one of the particular strengths of Hill and Jones's book. So what I would say is that different businesses and different industries will have slightly different core competencies which are important. So a national governing body's competencies or range of competencies will not be the same as a professional sports team's, which will not be the same as a broadcaster's, which will not be the same as, for example, a facility provider, a chain of gyms, for example, or a sports good manufacturing company like Adidas or Nike. However, having said that, there are some kind of broad or generic areas of competitive advantage which it is important for virtually all businesses to consider and try to develop competence in these areas. So each of these building blocks is a route to competitive advantage. Now, in next week's lectures, I will talk to you about something called business level strategy. And business level strategy says that organisations have 2 choices if they want to succeed. They can either choose a strategy which is a low cost strategy, in which they seek to minimise their costs and pass these cost savings on to consumers to offer them a lower price option, but one which allows the business to maintain its profit margins at a good level, and it sells a high volume in the market because of its low cost proposition. And that's its route to success. That's its competitive advantage. So budget gyms are the example within our industry for this. The other route to competitive advantage is differentiation, according to this kind of theory, which we'll talk about more next week. And differentiation is a very different strategy than low cost. Differentiation is about trying to add features, build quality, which will allow the business to charge a higher price, a premium price, which consumers are willing to pay because of the perceived benefits of the product which is being offered. So that's a differentiation strategy. And what we're going to see is that these 2 quite different strategies apply the same building blocks, and these are the 4 building blocks which I'm just animating around the kind of competitive advantage square here. And I'm going to talk to you about each of these in turn. So, superior efficiency. If we start with superior efficiency is about minimising costs, really. It's about maximising output for the minimum inputs. So that's a definition of efficiency. It's the relationship between inputs and outputs, and really trying to maximise outputs for the minimum amount of inputs. So, for example, in terms of efficiency, and we've talked about this briefly, and I'll talk about it in much more detail next week in a more structured way. Budget gyms seek to enhance efficiency by operating with very low numbers of staff. Okay, so anybody who knows anything about sports facility management will tell you that traditionally, in your typical sports facility, as operated by a local authority or by Virgin Active or a kind of, premium health club brand, that your major costs are going to be staff costs, and then staff costs will probably be about 80% of your overall costs. and the rest would be facility related building and maintenance costs and operation costs. But your main costs are staff costs. So what budget gyms have done is they've found ways of designing and operating facilities with very low staff numbers, which allows them to strip out most of their costs, which allows them to become far more efficient. They do other things as well, like operate 24 hours a day, which allows them to spread demand more efficiently. And they also operate with more members per club than standard fitness clubs, which gives them a kind of higher efficiency ratio in terms of, members per metre squared of floor space, for example. So superior efficiency is very important in the budget gym organisation. But superior efficiency can also be, which is that's a low cost option. The budget gym is an example there. A differentiator is someone who tries to invest in features to try to improve the experience of customers, the features for customers that allows them to charge a premium price. Now, so you might think that efficiency is not as important for a differentiator, and you'd be right in thinking that. It probably isn't as important, but an effective differentiator, if they are providing high quality products which are reliable with good customer service, they are probably far less likely to get lots of consumer complaints, which take time to deal with, which stop the business moving on and kind of creating value in other ways. If you're firefighting, if you're taking time dealing with complaints, you're not dealing with issues to kind of improve customer satisfaction. You're dealing with issues that arise with problems because your processes aren't that good. If you have great processes, which allow you to produce high quality products, you're probably not going to have to deal with complaints and defects as often, which is going to allow you to become more efficient. So efficiency may not be a real source of competitive advantage for a differentiator organisation, but it's important that they're able to kind of be reasonably efficient to compete. And it's important that they also have good processes which reduce defects and customer complaints and allow them to actually become more efficient because they spend less time dealing with problems and more time focusing on innovation and quality, which is important for them. So, mentioning quality. So, you might think that for a low-cost operator, quality is not as important, but it's still important that they offer something which is an acceptable level of quality for the price that they're charging. So budget gyms generally offer a product which is comparable in its core terms to premium gyms. And what they've done is they've done research which says, well, customers don't really value swimming pools and the extra kind of cafes, smoothie bars, nail bars, hair salons, restaurants that are in kind of premium gyms. What they really value is the gym, and the gyms in budget gyms are as big and equipped in a comparable way to the kind of premium gyms. So what they're doing there is they're doing something of an acceptable quality, which meets customers' needs and which they're happy to pay a lower price for. A differentiator, though, would really maximise on this, and we'll look next week at examples of how Nike and Adidas try to develop superior products. We will look at how luxury health clubs try to differentiate themselves, and they really focus on superior quality of goods inputs, so raw materials, superior kind of product design, superior aesthetics, and those kinds of things can be important as well. Now, for kind of superior quality for organisations like Adidas and Nike, excuse me, innovation is really important and goes hand in hand with superior quality. So we will see that Nike invest an awful lot of money in their research and development work at their headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon, in Portland, USA. So Nike invest a lot of resources in research and development, and have developed competencies in that field. They have biomechanics specialists, physiologists, they have special relationships with advanced materials manufacturers that allow them to create technical products which they can charge a high price for. They've got a track record of collaboration with Apple, which has allowed them to produce the Nike Plus range of products, which gives customers kind of feedback and is linked to iPods and wearable technology, that type of thing. So Nike sees itself very much as an innovation company, and through innovating, they can produce superior quality products which allow them to charge a premium price. So innovation is important for a differentiator there, but innovation is also important for a low-cost operator, because a budget gym like Pure Gym in the UK has innovated the business process, and it's come up with a different way of doing things which allows it to reduce costs, and it constantly innovates the way it does business to allow it to reduce its costs, to improve superior efficiency. So what we can see is that these building blocks aren't necessarily standalone building blocks. There is a lot of cross-fertilization between them. And finally, superior customer responsiveness is about the kind of, responsiveness, giving customers what they want. And obviously, for a kind of premium product, you would expect that to be very important. But also, a low-cost operator can't take their eye off the ball here. They've got to give the customers what they want, which is a low-cost gym proposition with no frills at an excellent price, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which they can use. So those are the 4 building blocks. And what we can see is, if we looked at a low-cost organisation, the most important building blocks or sources of competency for these organisations would be efficiency. So they would need competency in efficiency, and they would also need competency in innovation, which helps drive efficiency. So thinking about doing things differently, okay? And they would have to have acceptable quality and acceptable customer responsiveness. Things would look a little bit different, or quite different, for a differentiator. A differentiator who wants to charge premium prices has got to offer superior quality. They've got to innovate in terms to be able to produce goods which are of superior quality. So they've got to constantly innovate to keep ahead of the competition, to allow them to keep that competitive advantage. And they will need superior customer responsiveness, because if you're making a more significant purchase, customer behaviour and buyer behaviour will tell that the more expensive your purchase, the more post-purchase care and support and ongoing customer service you will require. Okay, but organisations who are differentiators also need to think about efficiency, and they can become more efficient through having better customer processes to deal quickly with customer issues and complaints. Through superior quality, they can develop products which are less likely to become defective, and therefore there's going to be less time spent dealing with customer complaints. And through innovation, they can innovate customer responsiveness and quality issues, which can also drive efficiency of their operations. So those are the 4 building blocks, and you moving forward, you will have to think, how can my organisation develop superior efficiency, superior quality, superior customer responsiveness, and superior innovation. How in everything that it does can it think about these things? So the building blocks can be seen as generic, distinctive competencies which organisations have or can seek to develop. We've seen how these building blocks is developed and deployed will vary between organisations. So we're going to explore this in much more detail next week, but we've looked at how a differentiator, so someone who wants to charge a premium price, will approach the competencies, the building blocks, in quite different ways than a low-cost operator. So we've looked at the differences between those things there. And the building blocks are highly interlinked. So innovation in process design can deliver superior efficiency or superior quality or superior customer responsiveness. So the building blocks are really highly interlinked. So we will come back next week and talk about the building blocks, and we'll also mention them maybe at the end of the lecture today. But those 4 building blocks are really important, because in every function or every activity a firm thinks, or a business or an organisation conducts, it can think, do we have the right resources? Do we have the right competencies to do things more efficiently, with superior quality, with superior innovation, or with superior customer responsiveness?